You obviously haven't heard Ian yet. That was the deck a little bit stickier than it was on Friday?
I think so. That was the kind of feedback we got from the guys who spent a bit of time out there. I actually initially thought we were playing on the wicket we used at the start of last week, but that changed. But yeah, just kind of disappointing. We obviously set out to get a good total, which I don't think we did. A couple of guys played some good knocks, but just nothing really around that to get us to any sort of a total, which is disappointing. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it was just a touch thicker than the other day.
I think that's why they normally bowl around eight overs of spin. They went with 10 today. Obviously, they had a lot of success. I think you guys went to under a run of ball to spin, something you presumably anticipated happening in terms of that's how they'd attack you.
Yeah, we knew that their spin is a big threat. I think today, again, the guys who spent time in the middle will probably be able to tell you more, but I think it wasn't massive term, but just enough to kind of attack us with. And yeah, it's just, I think you get to this stage of any competition, you're going to be playing world-class spinners, seam bowlers, batters. That's just the way it is, and we've got to try to catch up and try to be on par with those sort of performers as often as possible.
Both you and Lorcan probably departed going to areas of strength. You scored a lot of runs through fine leg on Friday. Lorcan loves his sweeps. Those are the dismissals you can live with?
Well, I don't have a choice. I have to live with them. There's something we practice in the nets all the time. I think if I had my time again, I might have just had a look at a ball. But it's an option that's worked for me in the past, and I'll continue to try it. I think Lorcan's the same. I think in T20 format, there's so many games, they come thick and fast. You just got to stick with your strengths, and some days they'll come off, some days they won't. And unfortunately for me, it didn't come off today, but it's not a shot I'm going to be putting away.
Just a quick one to finish. Did Paul say anything about his dismissal? Because I know he stood his ground, and we've looked at a video, and it's iffy at best whether that catch was claimed.
No, I haven't really spoken to him about it. I didn't really see the replay either, so I'll certainly have to have a look at it. That's all I can say.
You played a few games in Hobart, so you might have had the advantage of familiarity. But do you think playing Sri Lanka now was too significant a step up in quality, and that was maybe one of the adjustments you struggled to make?
I don't think so. I think we played quality teams last week in a more pressurised environment. But certainly they're a good team, and they had a tough start last week, but then built momentum into this week. So they obviously had started winning last week, and they've taken that into this week. And I think when we play good cricket, we're on par with anyone, but it's just that consistency and backing performances up, and we certainly didn't do that today from Friday, and we're going to have to start to look to kick it off on Wednesday at the MCG.
Also, you say it was a sticky wicket. Are you maybe slightly disappointed that the bowlers couldn't make this total a bit of a scrappy, turn this into a scrappy game, rather than Sri Lanka ended up just sort of cruising to the win?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a sticky wicket. I don't want that to be the headline. It certainly was not a bad wicket at all. The odd ball did sit up a bit, but it was still a pretty good wicket. We've been very fortunate here in Hobart to have good wickets all week, and I think, it's tough in the bowlers when you're defending 128 or whatever it is. You've got to bowl out of your skin and field out of your skin, and we certainly didn't do that, particularly in the field. I think we were a bit sloppy, but we've got 4 more games to try to rectify that.
The spinners took obviously 5 for 57, I think it was, in 10 overs. And you give them all the credit, or is there something we could have done different, the batsmen could have done differently?
I think you have to give them credit. I think that they're pretty impressive figures, but we've played a lot of cricket against good spinners, so we should have maybe played a bit better, but I don't want to criticise, because we've got quality players in our top 7, and they've all contributed now pretty much to this tournament, and they will continue to contribute by playing their strengths, and I certainly won't be telling them not to play certain shots and stuff.
But they obviously found it difficult to score boundaries off them.
Yeah, and they are naturally good spinners, and good spinners are hard to hit boundaries off, and you've sometimes got to be innovative, and we weren't able to do that today, and unfortunately that the figures you said just played a big part in today's game.
Just sum up our bowling performance.
Yeah, like I said, it's hard. I thought we bowled pretty well up top without any luck. We could have maybe set different fields. I could have maybe set a couple more kind of creative fields, but like I said, they batted pretty well and kind of we came hard at them in the power play and they rode that wave a bit and just kind of got away from us. And like I said, if we had 150, 160, it could have been different, but 128, in this day and age, you're never really in the game.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be moving on to the Zoom. Dean, you can go ahead.
Hi, Andy. Congratulations today. I'm sure you'll lick your wounds and come again hard on Wednesday. I mean, how good is it for you that the next game is against England, which obviously has that local element to it to get you and your guys up for it?
Yeah, I don't think we've played England. I've certainly never played against England in a T20. I don't think we've played them for 10 or 11 years. Is that right? 2010. So we've obviously played a lot of 50-over cricket against them, a test match against them. We got a bit of a taste of the MCG in a warm-up game before the tournament started for us. And there's a lot of Irish people in Melbourne, so it's going to be pretty special. It's always special when you get to play England. A few of us kind of played county cricket and got a taste of that, and we know how strong a team they are. They coming in as probably one of the tournament favourites, and rightly so. So we're going to have to be a lot better than we were today to come anywhere near them. But I know the guys will certainly turn it around, and once we get up to Melbourne, we'll be fully focused on the challenge that is ahead.
You touched on 2010. I mean, that was actually a no result, probably with Ireland in a reasonable position. The chance to maybe make up for that in this tournament would be nice. Yeah,
I actually remember watching it in a walkabout in the Finchley Road, and the rain came down and I couldn't believe it. I think George and Paul Sterling were playing. It seems that, well, it is a long time ago. Certainly the guys who were there feel like they were maybe hard done by, but yeah, that was, a kind of surreal thing to see Ireland on the telly playing in the World Cup. That was the kind of period where that generation inspired a new generation, and certainly we're very fortunate to be in the position we are to play against these high quality teams in such amazing venues. And I can only speak for myself, but I'm certainly chomping at the bit to get at them on Wednesday.
And just finally from me, sorry, Ghazi, the game that they played against Afghanistan last night obviously got a winning start. Was there anything that you took from that might be of use? And I'm thinking maybe in particular the challenge of Mark Wood bowling at pretty decent rate of knots.
Yeah, I wasn't managed to able to watch all of it, but I think I'll certainly look at the footage over the next couple of days once I get to Melbourne. And look, we know where their threats are. They've got threats all over the park, in every part of the game, and we're going to have to be really on it to get near them and try to create an upset. Certainly Mark Wood is someone who, he's probably the quickest bowler in the world, and sometimes that brings out the best in some of our players, and hopefully that can be the case on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Cheers.